All right, we're good. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna intro, just basically context to this podcast. Everybody, you can chime in whenever you'd like.
Okay. .9, the Fresh Station.
Hey everybody, this is your host Cecil and Jon. What's going on? Welcome to the first of many live broadcasted podcasts from Radio Zenit. What's going on, Jon?
Nothing much going on with you, Cecil.
Bro, I'm excited. This is our first podcast. We've been doing an RP out here in Radio Zenit for I think ever since March or February. We met out in Baronzino, which is very ironic because that's our favorite spawn place. And now we're out here in Radio Zenit. We're actually doing a real podcast. Normally we've been doing fresh spawn runs and taking people here and wowing them with our base and giving them like a pre-made questionnaire, you know, normally. And that's not happening anymore. It's just you and me, Jon.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's the real deal. It's fun stuff.
It's the real deal. I've been, for the longest, I've been just trying to fight the fact that this wasn't an RP, and you know, that's fun. It's fun arguing when you know it's an RP, but you don't want to let people know, because you know when you're RPing something, you don't want to say, "Hey guys, wink, wink, this isn't real." And so now finally I get to break it, and you know, I always introduce myself as like Cecil, Larry, or Dan on the stream. So that's what I think I'm gonna start doing when we do this, because yeah, I don't care what the fuck you call me or what people call me.
You know what's more real?
I'm just what?
The fact that your HUD is still on.
My head? Oh shit, you're right.
Your HUD.
Oh, thanks. Well, that ruined it, yeah. Well, you stream sniping. Thanks, buddy.
Well, that's how it goes.
That's how it be sometimes. So that's just it's gonna be a weird cut. You know, this is how it happens. This is how it starts.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I normally wanted to start addressing like killing on sight, which is whatever. That's just the game. But now I want to kind of avoid like winking at the camera, and I want to kind of avoid like saying I have these rules or and all this other bullshit. I'm getting so tired of that same old having to introduce myself and my whole like lore. And I'm happy I get to talk to, like, you're the first guest I actually enjoyed. Everyone else was just a fucking bore. And then you came out of nowhere and we had like this instructional podcast. It came out of, it was great.
It was such a perfect culmination of things. And like I was playing with Connor that night, and he was like all running up. He didn't even know where he was, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna try to find him. I'm not gonna try to hunt him down. I'm with Cecil now," and we just had that wild run that first night.
I will admit, I kind of thought I got in the middle, because for people who don't know, originally Jon, I believe, was playing with another guy named Connor, and he was kind of infrequent, and he found me, and then like he really like fell into like my silly lore, and he wanted to help me build a podcast, and I don't think Connor was all for that, so I kind of felt like I was the other guy, and I kind of felt like I created some sort of jealousy, which honestly it makes me feel real beautiful, and I don't know. It was really cool knowing that I may have broken up a friendship. No. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I had to wait it out. I had to confirm. It definitely didn't break up a friendship. But it definitely, like, I mean, as I've said before, Connor just wasn't always like 100% locked into DayZ, and like I would say the biggest dampener was we had already built a base. We already did everything we wanted on the western side of the map. I pulled the plug on saying we're gonna move bases. We're going to pack everything up in a truck, and we're going to do a Hail Mary cross the map trip. And I died on said trip. I think that was one of the hardest pills to swallow. So I definitely do think that kind of coincided with the whole lack of desire to play this game anymore. But I mean, it's fine. It all works out. It's great. we play other games.
I do remember you telling me
Those are
like
the best.
the loss of having to lose everything because I met you and then you had this huge stash on the west and we ended up getting I guess killed by the admins because you're a sneaky little sneak that was breaking the
That was the
rules.
most my bad.
Yeah, sure. And
I don't think that was the admins that killed us in that moment. I don't know. That was weird.
it was too weird, dude. We got killed on a server restart by a random stray bullet where we didn't see or hear.
Literally
Both of us.
on the edge of the map.
Yeah, and you told me that you ended up getting booted or killed by an admin because you were running on the edge of the map and they thought you were trying to be a little gopher. And so I think they were following you. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but we built a base there eventually after the whole stash debacle. Yeah, it was a fun experience.
That was
But we built a base, tried to do a cross map adventure. Connor was gonna stay. It was late at night. Connor was gonna stay up and join me, but he died. I think of like cholera right before we got going. And so I hopped in the truck, packed everything up, and went and sent it across the map. And I literally was on the last little road, last little bend. And that's when there was just a sniper in the woods just watching the road. That just popped me.
That's literally just how all good things end. That's how the other day ended. Yesterday or the other day was like the biggest grief I think I've had in I don't know how long. I think we both were just done. I've never had that moment when we were both just like, all right, fuck this, fuck our lives.
Yep.
We ran all the way to the west. We collected like 250 nails. We had so much explosives on us, and we were just trying to get back home. And we fucking yeeted it on two guys who shat all over our mouths.
I don't know what's up either. Like I said, I'm not the same player I was months ago. I'm either just not, my skill has just went out the window, or like, I don't know. I can't compete like I did. And it's really sad, because I don't know if it's just there's a different caliber of player on this server now, or if it's a lot more lag, if the servers run on like a different like network, and so it's just a lot more laggy. I don't know what it is, but just I line up shots and I pull the trigger and I don't see any outcome. Like I don't see any blood splatters ever. I feel like my iron sights, or even when I'm running optics, my sights are right on a guy and I see one blood splatter after shooting 30 rounds. And I just don't understand it right now. I'm kind of at a loss.
You know what? I could say that too. If I wasn't already a bad player, I could be like, why am I missing all my... But I really do feel like the shots I should be hitting are hitting. But that's how it's felt ever since I started playing DayZ. So I don't know if it is just the lag or not for me. I mean, it's always been a skill issue for me.
Yeah, I would like to see potentially the increase in my ability to kill people, because it is nice having our like long stints of like murdering a lot of people, but I guess it's just not happening right now.
It comes and goes, man. It's all about getting that. It's all about getting that momentum. It's like baseball, dude. I really feel like it's like hitting in baseball. You just have to get that roll in, and then the shots will start coming, and then you start getting goofy, and you could just like close your eyes, and you can't miss a fucking shot. That's how it gets sometimes with you.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I've been playing a lot of WoW and stuff, a lot of games that don't, like, I haven't been doing as much first-person shooters, because that's also another thing, is we played Call of Duty. Remember when we first got into Call of Duty, and I was absolute beast. And then we played it again recently. Mind you, my PC was also falling apart. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but my PC is like falling apart all of a sudden. But I was an absolute beast when we first got into Call of Duty. And then recently we played it again, and like I was able to like snap headshot every zombie. Like I was running snipers because I was like just playing, I was so dialed in. And then we went to play it recently. I am not the same dialed in individual I was. I whiff so many shots now. I can't hit shit. So I think I was playing so much FPS in such a like large chunk of time that I was so dialed in. I played a fucking MMO for 2 weeks, and suddenly I just am not the same FPS player I was.
You're one of those lazy MMOers, dude. We're gonna join a guild now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, hey, you're trying to ruin this podcast by dragging me into WoW. If anyone, the one heroine that's ever been in my life. Hold on, sorry, I'll hold on. Damn it.
You gotta blow on it.
It's not letting me. Oh, yeah, it is. It's my HUD. All right, listeners. It's Cecil and Jon here, and today we're diving into something that might just blow your mind, or at least uncover it.
Yeah, this isn't just any ad, folks. We're talking about Sandy's mood rings, but let's be clear. These aren't your old school color-changing novelties. These rings, they don't just tell you if you're happy or stressed. They reach into the depths of who you are.
Exactly, Jon. Sandy's mood rings are like a mirror into your soul, reflecting not just your surface emotions, but uncovering your true hopes. Not the stuff you think you want, like a car or a better job. No, these rings tap into the deep, quiet voice inside you, the one that knows what you really need in life.
And that's where it gets, well, interesting. Let's be honest. Sometimes it's easier to coast along thinking we've got it all figured out. But what happens when you realize that the things you've been chasing aren't what you actually need?
Oof, that's the beauty and maybe the danger of these rings. They force you to confront what's pulling your strings. Sure, it might feel empowering to discover your hidden aspirations, but it can also shake you to your core.
Because once you know what you truly need, you can't unknow it. Maybe you've been working so hard to climb the corporate ladder, but deep down, the rings say you're yearning for freedom. Maybe a cabin in the woods or a life of simplicity.
Or maybe you're chasing relationships, but your ring glows a quiet green, whispering that you really need time to heal. That's the brilliance and the weight of Sandy's mood rings. They don't just reveal your feelings, they reveal your truth.
So here's the question. Are you ready to face it? Because these rings aren't just jewelry. They're tools for transformation. And transformation isn't always comfortable.
During this holiday season, our listeners can experience this for themselves in good Christmas spirits. Go to sandysmoodrings.com and use code XMISSZENIT at checkout for 15% off. But fair warning, this isn't just a ring, it's a journey.
That's sandysmoodrings.com, code XMASZENIT. Start the journey if you're brave enough.
Sandy's mood rings, because sometimes the truth is exactly what you need, even if it's not what you want.
You know, speaking of Sandy, I've been wondering something. Is Sandy a guy or a girl?
Oh, I have no idea. I've been picturing someone with long hair and a mysterious vibe, but who knows? Sandy could be a burly dude with a beard for all we know.
Exactly. Sandy's one of those names that could go either way. And honestly, I kind of love the mystery. Makes the ring feel even deeper, like they're coming from someone who exists outside of all our usual labels.
Right? Sandy could be anyone, or maybe Sandy is just the concept of understanding your psyche, given form.
Whoa, Cecil. That's a lot.
Hey, when you've got a ring that's digging into your nervous system, you got to start asking the big questions.
Well, whoever or whatever Sandy is, they're clearly onto something. Thanks to Sandy for sponsoring the show. Now let's get back to our truth, whatever that is.
Yeah. All right, where was I?
Heroin. Wow.
If one heroine's ever been in my life, it's been the World of Warcraft. Oh my fucking god. World of Warcraft has been the bane of my existence. I literally was in college and I had to have a moment with myself and be like, if you continue playing World of Warcraft, you will not get what you need out of college. You have to stop. And I've had one of those coming of terms moments with myself, and you're trying to drag me back in there with hardcore WoW. Of all things, hardcore WoW. Like, it's like I used to do really nice heroin, and now you're on me on that. You want to get me on that synthetic shit.
You did great heroin back in the day. Best heroin, some of the greats. But now it's 2024. It's the age of
Never
fentanyl.
better.
It's 2024. It's the age of fentanyl. You got to get that fentanyl-laced heroin. And that is hardcore classic 20th anniversary Doom Howl server World of Warcraft.
But I'm used to my old school Storm Reaver Alliance server with a bunch of Albertan gentlemen. That was great. You know how nice it is to play with Canadians, dude? And then I have to come to the most toxic, hardcore WoW horde servers and have to deal with people just trying to grief. I can't. That's not the WoW I left.
The thing is it's not griefing. It's not toxicity. It's just people in general chat, people in global chat saying Trump 2028. That's all it is. It's not, and it's
Really?
like people
That's
talking
it?
about, yeah, it's just people talking about like, if you voted for Harris, you're X, or if you voted for Trump, you're Y. And like, there's people just trying to stir the pot, and then everybody's just like talking shit. But like, it's not that toxic. It's a pretty good environment.
I love how they politicized WoW.
Yeah, it's just people trying to stir the pot. I don't really understand it. I stay out of it. It's all in Duratar. At the moment you get out of Duratar and you get into Barons, all these trolls and stuff can't make it past level 12. So they never get to the Barons. So as soon as you get to the Barons, it's a lot more mellow, it's a lot more chill. But
So it's lighter conspiracies that you can handle.
exactly, it's like jet fuel doesn't melt slow booms. That's what the Barons chats are about.
Okay, I can handle it. That's so old. That's just like, yeah, whatever. I get it. It's just like humming in the distance now.
Yeah.
Okay. You just go through different types of conspiracies in every level. Like after you get out of Classic, once it gets into Burning Crusade, it's gonna be real. What's gonna happen there? Are you gonna do like DLC hardcore? Are you even gonna make it to DLC?
I don't know what their process is of enabling DLC for. I don't think they have a hardcore DLC server yet. But this is all pure vanilla. This is literally like launch day. This is all the product that came out. So even I spent so much time crafting fucking embossed leather boots for the Dark Moon Fair just to find, because like I have an add-on questy where it shows you little like pings for all the different map things, like for all the different quests, and I saw quests for the Dark Moon Fair. I haven't been over to Mulgore yet, so I was like, oh shit, there's a Dark Moon Fair. I'm gonna make these boots and I'm gonna turn them in, get tickets, and I'm gonna buy some shit with my tickets. I make so many boots. I run all the way over to Mulgore to find out that Dark Moon Fair was not in vanilla WoW, but the pings were still there because of my add-on. The add-on just wasn't like specified for vanilla specifically. So that was the biggest punch in the dick, because if I wanted to grind my leatherworking, I could have made gloves, which were like a third of the like material resourceful cost as the boots, but they gave me the same amount of leatherworking skill. But I spent so much time making these boots that I ended up just having a vendor for like nothing.
Man, I really wish I can relate with that. Like, I really wish I, like, for one, I was Alliance, so when you say locations, it's all just jibber jabber. And like, was there modded WoW now?
Yeah, there's modded WoW. The first hardcore server wasn't even like a Blizzard ran server.
Damn, I didn't like. When did they start doing mods? Like, I know there was like there's like macros and add-ons, but like, when did they start modding servers?
I don't really know actually. I think it was like 10 years ago. But like the first servers kind of started sprinkling in there, where like it was like custom servers, where like you had to be like whitelisted by like a group. Like you couldn't, like there was like password protected servers.
That just says my age. It's been well over 10 years since I played WoW.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow. Wow. That's interesting. Like what's the key
It's
difference
a
between
retard.
vanilla and WoW? Like what is the benefits of non-vanilla?
What do you mean? Like
I know how, like, say the difference in DayZ with the vanilla and non-vanilla. You can clearly tell one, like there's maps, there's crosshairs, there's like quest lines and bullshit like that. That's not vanilla. Like, what's vanilla WoW compared to non-vanilla? Like, what makes something vanilla in WoW? I don't know, because I only know the vanilla WoW experience.
okay, so are you talking like what's the difference between classic and retail, or what's the difference between like what does add-ons bring? I don't really get what you're getting at.
I know add-ons. Add-ons are awesome. But like like vanilla WoW compared to not vanilla? What's the non-vanilla WoW experience, and what makes WoW vanilla? You know, like I know what makes DayZ vanilla.
A lot of the like modded servers I know have like a lot of like economy changes. There's a lot of like differences in like prices of a lot of things. And like stuff is more accessible. They make it so like there's PvP flag zones. So like, do you know how there's the well, you probably don't recognize the name, but like the Gurabashi Arena. It was in Vanilla Classic, where it's this arena where as soon as you enter, you're automatically PvP flagged. And it's this fighting pit, and in the center is a chest. And so like there was that in vanilla, but then also they decided to, in modded servers and stuff, they made other PvP flag zones. You can still flag PvP anywhere, but there were certain zones where you're automatically flagged, like by the Dark Portal, which in Classic doesn't even have any functionality. It's not until I think Burning Crusade that they actually added like a destination that the portal takes you. But it's surrounded by some high-level enemies, and you're automatically PvP flagged there in certain modded servers. But yeah, I don't really know the difference. I know a lot of them are like, a lot of the modded servers you have to like pay to play, which it's like, we're already paying to fucking have a WoW subscription. You think I'm gonna pay more? And I mean, like, yeah, I think that's pretty much most of what I know about it. I don't really know too much about modded servers and stuff. And I don't know anything about retail. Never played retail. Not a fan of retail.
But you do pay to be in guilds, which is very admirable of you. You're the guy. You're the guy who forks out $50 a month to be in a guild.
My guild actually requires nothing of me. They actually ran me through RFC yesterday, free of charge, and I even got the Cursed Fellblade. So and in return, I leveled my blacksmithing to 125 so I could build a guy some shoulder pads. Camaraderie.
Oh yeah, good for you, dude. I'm proud of you, man. Yeah, you were the one that thought you had to pay to be in guilds too. That was a good one.
For some guilds that you have to pay to be in, I just don't participate.
There are some scams.
They do exist.
Just some scams that you have to pay to be in.
They do exist, and they are very, very funny. They're very silly, but I do not participate.
All right, so I just want to get to talking about this whole murderer CEO dude. Because I don't love what's happening in general. Like, just because he was an evil person, I don't think it sucks seeing so many people celebrate like violence in real life. It's kind of like it's becoming kind of weird how people are like reveling in the fact that just because someone who they deem evil is dead, that's good. And I don't know. And the fact that it was murdered in cold blood, and just like assassination should never be celebrated, honestly. I don't know.
Two-sided coin. I see so many arguments on both sides. There's the like humanity side where it's like he had a wife and kids. Like, be a little bit reasonable here. Those kids have to live without a father for the rest of their lives. And then there's also like their wife has to live, like, she has to go to sleep at night in an empty bed. Like, there is a lot of humanity side of it that's like, this is detrimental, this is horrible. But then you also see the other side of the argument that's like, womp womp, those kids that have to grow up without a father are millionaires. So, like, I don't sympathize with either side, but I think dehumanizing it and saying their kids are millionaires is psychotic. That does not justify any of the stuff. That has no justification at all. But like, also, I don't like that they're placing a target on one person. I don't like that they're like, oh, he's the villain just because he's a CEO. It's not like he's the one specifically pulling the strings.
No, someone else is going to take his spot and is going to be just as evil.
Yeah.
Oh, so for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, there's been a CEO of an insurance company, United Healthcare, in the last, I think during like Friday, there was some big conference where he was walking outside on the streets of New York and some guy just walked up behind him and shot him the back like 4 times and then walked away and got away with it for days. And he just got caught. So if anyone was wondering.
Shot him 3 times and then walked up for a contact execution shot to confirm the kill. Like, very personal.
Yeah,
not,
he jammed.
There was no... It wasn't a jam, it was the way his gun was designed. He had built a suppressor homemade, and it didn't have... there's a certain device inside of suppressors that cycle the gas back to make it so that each round... to make it so that there isn't a malfunction. He made a homemade suppressor, which aren't that hard to make, and so it caused him to have to manually rack the slide. And it wasn't even a matter of racking the slide, he had to ride it forward. Like, he had to make sure each round got, like, back. He had to make sure each round went into the chamber himself. It wasn't like a failure to eject issue, it was like a failure to receive, I guess.
1 second. All right, just refilling the fire. Yeah, okay, so you know your shit, all right? So he just had a homemade thing that he had to manually do, and which was crafty.
There is a device, there is a gun that the NYPD initially came out and said this is the gun he was using. I don't know if you're familiar with the gun. It is a well rod. It is a World War II style weapon. Or I think it was like invented in the World War II. There is a modern version of that that is significantly, like, more, it's better made, obviously, than it was in World War II. It is integrally suppressed. And the issue with that is that it is made by a large gun manufacturing company that is probably the most, like, intense on tracking and, like, I can't really think of the word. Like, anytime they sell a gun, there's paperwork, there is processing. Like, none of these guns are sold without, like, multiple databases knowing about it. So for him, there's, like, never any crimes that take place with these types of weapons because they're so tracked and they're so, like, kept. Another thing is in the video, you notice that he's just, like, racking the slide back. For that well rod pistol, what you do is it's basically a plunger on the back of the gun that you have to rotate, pull back, slide forward, and then rotate again, which, like, that's a lot more motion than he was doing in the video.
So
I was just gonna say, NYPD came out and said this is the gun he was using, and the entire gun community was like, you guys are very wrong. So I just find that slightly amusing.
So you're the gun community, I take it.
Not entirely. I am mainly hearing this from gun community. I do enjoy the whole gun community stuff. I enjoy that sort of niche, but I definitely wasn't the one to come out and be like, actually. I just am seeing the afterwards repercussions of it all.
So you're not saying you're a representative, but you are speaking on behalf of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if I have any gun community questions, they'll go through you. No, it's fun because I have someone I know who he like, I live in Los Angeles and he worked as a gun handler on movie sets, and so when there would be something like the Alec Baldwin thing happened, where Alec Baldwin killed someone on set with a poorly loaded what do you call it, blank in his gun. I just asked him about it, and my buddy would do exactly what you just did, is explain me every single thing that weapons master did wrong to load that gun and how that killed it. It was just like, I love, like, he represents the movie gun community for me.
Yeah, the fact that the armor wasn't on set for that whole thing, and the fact that, like, he's, like, even if it's a prop gun, even if you're shooting blanks, regardless, even if it is a empty firearm, if you have examined this gun, if you have thousands of hours handling firearms, you've examined this gun, and there is zero chance for this thing to pose a threat to anybody in a, like, firing standpoint, of course you can always bludgeon somebody with a gun, but in a sense of firing the gun, this poses no threat to anybody in existence. You still should not point it at people unless you intend to destroy those people. And he failed that first rule of gun safety.
That is the first thing they teach you in holding a gun, is don't point. And the actor was like, ooh, me? Don't worry, he got away with it, all right? It's okay. Now back to this whole killer, or this whole murderer who was intentional about it. I'm gonna read a little thing from the BBC because I like reading news sources that aren't biased towards American shit. This is right after the guy got caught. The sign of a prominent Maryland family who came top of his class at an elite private school before graduating from an Ivy League college, Luigi Mangione, seemed to have everything going for him, according to friends. They have been left stunned by the 26-year-old's arrest for the murder of United Healthcare's chief executive, Brian Thompson, who was fatally shot last week in New York City. Mr. Mangione will plead not guilty, his lawyer says. Not guilty. Because it's not on a fan camera or anything. He's not guilty, guys. So would you have the nerve to say, hey, I'm not guilty, when the whole entire world saw you and your face shoot the guy?
I think he's a plant. I think he's a dupe. He looks close enough. I don't think he was the killer. I think he's an industry plant.
Okay, so
He's an industry plant.
I like hearing these sides because he was caught with a bag that literally was just screaming people planted shit on me, because it literally the only thing in his bag was evidence, which is kind of like, really only evidence in his bag? Like, it's days after and he should be traveling with travel supplies, but he only is carrying evidence. That's fucking suspicious. But he's also kind of crazy, and those people in real life, like I've heard, there's this writer. He's also the editor of Crack Magazine. His name's Jason Pargin, and he has this TikTok where he just explains things. And he explained how, like, stuff like this is where conspiracies get started, because the way it played out just doesn't happen the way it plays in movies. So therefore, the way it just happened so randomly, and like that would never happen in your mind. So therefore, it's like people don't want to accept it, even though a lot of like serial killers were caught with only evidence on them, and that's just and they were just caught. It's just like that's the stuff that happens, and people don't want to admit that, hey, maybe it was just a coincidence and this guy's fucking crazy because he was caught in a McDonald's. Who would be in a McDonald's? That's and I don't know. So I see both sides. And I'd like to think, because of like the idea of all this shit in his bag, that he's a plant, because oh boy, I love a good conspiracy story. But I also understand that that's just not how life is all the time.
So I personally am kind of on there's a whole battle currently going on between, was he a professional like before he was found? It was like, was he a professional hitman, or was he an amateur just doing a job, just doing what he thought was right? And I'm like, if he was a professional, he would know to ditch all this shit. Like, he would go a few blocks away and he'd take that hat off, he'd take that hoodie off, he'd take that backpack, he'd take that gun, he would chuck all that shit in a dumpster. He would have a separate set of clothes in that backpack that he would swap out to. He would do all this stuff. And the fact that he was found with a backpack with no extra changes of clothing, no like other helpful, if you're gonna do something like this, you better have some cash on you. He didn't have like I would expect you to have like probably $10,000 cash on you if you're gonna, especially if you're hired to do this. You probably have some cash on you, and like I would expect him to like have some sort of means of surviving off the grid for a while. He had nothing except for what he used. Everything he had on him was crazy.
He had nothing. Like he had stuff, like he planned for the assassination, but he didn't plan for the getaway. and like he literally was found with a manifesto on him with things that like literally have just like on the nose things said, like he used the words "I have ill will towards them," and it's just kind of like no one would say that in a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he was such an intelligent guy, he only planned for the assassination, and it shows that he has no proof that he planned for the getaway, but he got away to Georgia. Or no, he got away all the way to Pennsylvania. It's like, I don't know. It is kind of crazy how, like, if he just wandered his way into Pennsylvania, like he had no plan. It could be that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's absurd. I don't know. I just, in that situation, he planned for the assassination and not the getaway. In my mind, I'm like, if that's the case, why not, after the job is done, F11? That makes the most sense in my mind. If you aren't hired for the job, if this is purely a you're wanting to do it thing, I would expect, like, this would be a murder-suicide. This would be he does it and then presses the F11 key on his keyboard.
You think he would F11 IRL?
I mean, it makes the most sense. If he's hired to do this, he would have a getaway. He would have that all well established. He would have got paid way more money than he needed to figure out how to escape. But I don't think he was hired for this. I think this was he was doing it of his own will, which I believe he would do that. I don't think he would try to, of his own volition, do it and expect to get away with it.
So yeah, maybe he's just maybe he was just surprised how far. Like, if he did, like, if it was all him, maybe he's just surprised he got this far. Like, would you like really expect to get away? Do you expect to get away with it?
I mean, like, I don't know. It's just weird. If you look at like big time killers, they almost always get caught in one way or another. I mean, Ted Kaczynski went on for so long because he was a fucking hermit in the woods. You're fucking just wandering. You're sitting in a goddamn McDonald's, still wearing the fucking outfit. Like, how do you expect to get away with that shit?
Oh yeah, how do you expect to get away with it? And of all people, it's not like he was a McDonald's employee is the one that reported him, and the McDonald's employee won't even get the shitty $10,000 reward because he called 911 instead of the hotline number. And so the people who are paying the reward are like not going, actually, we're going to still give him the reward. They're going, well, he like, you know what I'm saying? They don't even want to help anyone who's helping. It's the whole idea of the reward is just a BS bullshit thing. I don't know. That pisses me off too, because like if I was offering a reward, I would still try to find that person, because it was just like, just because he called 911, you're going to get the guy in a stipulation. You're offering a reward for a reason.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's absurd. It is complete bullshit. It definitely, I think, needs to be addressed, because that is like, I mean, that just opens up the door to like, I don't want to say like not like vigilantism, but like kind of just like turn a blind eye. In theory, in the whole world of like Batman and stuff, there was a lot of the civilian population that was fucking terrified of him. And like was like, he's doing the wrong thing. Even if you believe he's doing the wrong thing, it's not like people called 911 being like, hi, Batman is here beating the shit out of people. They just let him live his life. And so I think if the reward incentive is just fake, that's going to make it so people just are like, well, fuck it. What's the point in calling if I'm not going to get shit for this?
You know, I think they want us to think that. Because the fact that like the movie Joker exists and all that stuff, you would think they would feel like that's a threat. You know, how the like CEOs would feel like that's a threat to them. But they're CEOs and there are big people producing that movie, thinking that like they aren't thinking, oh, these people are like, they don't care that people are laughing at them, because they know that that's not a real life threat. That one guy killing that Luigi guy, I really don't think any of the CEOs find that as a threat, and that it's just like a one-off thing. If anything, the only thing that's going to change is security. So I honestly don't think like that, like a person like that is gonna create this big, oh, we can now start like killing CEOs and get away with it, which he didn't. But like there was I don't know if you remember when like Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I'm a comedian, and everyone thought that comedians were going to start getting attacked left and right because that just opened the. No, it didn't happen. It just on occasion a drunk person will throw a bottle at a comedian. That happens all the time. But it's just like that didn't happen. People aren't getting attacked left and right, and so I honestly think that's kind of a scare tactic in a way, so that like the CEOs and the people on top want us to think that we have that type of power, so that we'll be distracting our own way. Because I don't think anything like that is going to. Like people killing CEOs is going to change anything at all, and it's just evident that like the board's just going to hire someone else. Who cares about that guy anymore?
Can we take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break.
I got an idea.
Well, everybody, as we take this 5-minute break, John's gonna go duty pie. I'll just be sitting here by the fire, you know. I'll be answering some, He just... Oh. Oh. Okay. John's is changing the production. He's moving the generator outside so we can have some sound, but we can also plug some lights in. John's an innovative man.
Just the lighting with the fireplace is really fucking up my perspective.
Are you using gamma in your recording?
No.
Oh, that's gonna look different on the edit.
Yeah, that's why I kind of want to do this. Yeah, I was gonna get to that. That's not gonna work.
See, this would be a perfect time to cut for an ad, so that's a great break. All right, folks, let's be honest for a second. How many times have you walked into a room and thought, man, I wish I had something to make me look both smarter and dumber at the exact same time?
Cecil, is that even possible?
It is now. Say hello to TechCo's Razer Sharp smart glasses.
Razer Sharp smart glasses?
Yeah, these aren't just any glasses. They're a next level piece of tech that doesn't just sit on your face. Oh no, these glasses judge your face. In fact, they're so smart, they don't just know how dumb you look wearing them, they know how dumb you were for buying them in the first place.
Let's be clear. These glasses don't hold back. You think you're upgrading your life? No, they're upgrading theirs by attaching themselves to the walking punchline that is you.
They've got everything. Cameras, microphones, facial recognition, even mood analysis. But the real feature? A smug superiority complex. These glasses are always one step ahead, rolling their metaphorical eyes every time you open your mouth.
And let's talk design. They're hideous. Like, were these tested in the dark kind of hideous? But don't worry. When people point that out, you can just say, oh, I'm trying out a new technology, and hide behind the excuse like the glasses hide behind your bad decisions.
And here's the kicker. They know you're lying. They know you're only wearing them so you can flex how advanced you are. And they're not impressed. These glasses could literally write a better excuse for you if they weren't too busy calculating your mediocre life choices.
And the tech? Oh, it's impressive. They'll find the nearest coffee shop faster than your brain can process caffeine withdrawal. But let's not forget, they'll also remind you, in their cold, data-driven way, that you're just another overly dependent human clinging to a product smaller than your whole family tree.
John, it's like the glasses are saying, you need us because clearly you can't figure your life out on your own.
Exactly. These glasses don't read your emails, they read you. Cecil, they know you better than you know yourself. And they're not shy about reminding you that.
And yet people are buying them. Why? Because deep down, we all want to feel like we're part of the future, even if the future thinks we're idiots.
So whether you're looking to embarrass yourself in public, give up your privacy entirely, or just feel like the dumbest person in a room full of tech, TechCo's Razer Sharp smart glasses have got you covered.
Head to techcosmartspecs.com and use code 2DUMB for 15% off your first pair. That's techcosmartspecs.com, code TOODUMB.
Because sometimes it's not about seeing the world clearly, it's about realizing that glasses are seeing you more clearly than you see yourself.
John, I've got to ask, did you get a pair yet?
Yeah, Cecil, and every time I put them on, I feel like they're whispering, you really thought this was a good idea?
Sounds about right. Thanks to TechCo for sponsoring the show. Now let's get back to the chaos. All right, everyone, we're back. Thanks for your time. Things have changed a bit. It got dark, so we had to adjust the lighting. Our generator was too loud, so we went to our last resort, torches. This is pretty good, right?
If anybody has any interest in making donations to the 91.9 Productions, we could use more cable reels. If anybody finds any, like, of those little the little, like, wheel things that have, like, the cables on it, we need more of those. We need extension cables. So if anybody finds any and would like to make a donation, it would be greatly appreciated.
And the podcast always appreciates all donations. You know, we get donated all the time, and it goes towards a good cause. It goes towards the 91.9 fund that will eventually lead towards a massive fight tournament at the end of every wipe. So just know that you are paying towards extremely high caliber entertainment. That's what I'm trying to say. I do want to talk about one thing, since we were talking about WoW earlier and doing things outside of stream. I just want to know, you know, you're a dungeon master. For the people who don't know, you make your own D&D campaigns, and you have your own teams of or parties of people that play campaigns with you because you're fun, you're entertaining, you're creative. Recently we had our own. I joined you on like a single campaign, a single day campaign, where you basically
One shot, if you will.
That's what it's called. And you created all the characters for everyone. You created a quick story. You created, you know, some backstory. You were really good at it, and I appreciate it. And at the end, you know, of a fun, entertaining day of doing D&D with you, where I feel like I put in a lot of effort, you know, come to find out, I'm just not right for your campaigns. I find out, and I just want to just ask, like, hey man, what's the deal? I feel like I was the one that was really, I don't know, carrying the boats, if you will, during our one shot. I was really using, I was using everything you gave me, as NPC wise, as map wise, as character wise. I wasn't just going in and running and gunning. I was using what you gave me, but yet still I wasn't good enough. I want to know, what's the deal, buddy?
As I've stated in the past, it requires a certain level of sort of like, it depends on the different type of campaign. So the one I'm currently running, that consists of my girlfriend, my brother, and Connor, it is what I would refer to as a hardcore sandbox. It is very serious. We count arrows. Like, there's not a lot of campaigns that count food. They count money. They count arrows. They count all this stuff. Water, rations, things like that. And so, generally speaking, it's very hardcore. It's a lot more like penny pinching. Money is a serious problem for them. They're trying to, like, rather than a lot of campaigns where it's just like, oh, pay this amount every once in a while, and that covers room, board, all that stuff. For if they visit a tavern, I have menus that they choose, and each food item gives you a certain buff. And if they shoot 5 arrows in a fight, I'll count those up, and I'll be like, okay, at the end of the fight, give me a roll, and that decides how many you recover at the end of the fight, and like all that stuff. Oh, there's a helicopter. And so that decides sort of like,
No, Carrie, hold it.
okay. And so that sort of it's just a certain level of seriousness, and there's a lot of kind of drama involved in a lot of the ones that I do. I mean, there's a lot of like murder mystery and things like that, and kind of one of the biggest things I would say is sort of the idea of cooperative storytelling. There's a big sort of stigma with D&D about having main character energy, and you come forward with a lot of main character energy, and it's hard to for the one shot, both my brother and Hannah enjoyed it a lot. They were like, it was very fun. It was a nice change of pace because they could kind of ride in the background while you kind of took the brunt of like a lot of the social aspect. And so it is tough. If we were to do a more long-term campaign, it would be a lot more cooperative. I wouldn't want one person being more prominent than the others. And there is a thing known as a DMPC. It's a Dungeon Master playable character. The Dungeon Master has a character that he plays alongside the group. I've had DMPCs in the past, and I absolutely hate having them because there's always that insider information. I give you guys a puzzle, I know the answer, yet I'm one of the playable characters. It sucks because it kind of kills the immersion if I'm like a playable character giving the other players hints on how to do the puzzles and things like that. And that, for me, having a DMPC, it really opens up that can of worms of main character energy, which I don't want to sap any like hype for my players. And so it's mainly just that issue of it's very cooperative, and I don't want one person kind of pulling the spotlight from others. If, for instance, in our one shot, you finished it off by pretty much almost killing the main guy, or like at least talking a lot of shit to him. You stomped the dude's head in, and it's all fun and stuff, but it's kind of very big picture. You got to think, you were talking a lot of shit with this main character guy. He's a very powerful wizard. It's in a normal campaign setting, you'd maybe want to be a little bit more civil with the guy, as he could be an ally. In my current campaign I'm running, there's a commander in the local army that my players are currently going through, and they're trying to build relations with this guy so that if they ever end up in a pinch later on, they can maybe call to him for aid. And so it's a big thing about just, I don't know. One of my biggest things I would say for players is you're playing the game as your player. You're not playing the game as you yourself as a person. You, Dan, are not the one in this world. It is your character, whatever I put their name is. And so that's kind of the big thing for me, is like, I don't want to say role
like you know me or something.
I don't want to say role play in a sense, but I want to say, like, to a degree, it has a certain level of seriousness, it has a certain level of role play. If you're playing a character that's a Goliath barbarian, you have an intellect of 8. If you don't use big words, that's great. You're playing your character. If you don't...
I was a bard.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. And I'm saying the bard isn't like... Bard is charisma. They're suave. They're smooth.
I was smooth as fuck.
Pull it up right now. You had a strength of 11 and you were telling me that you were bashing a dude's skull in. That's not...
Because I had confidence in myself. I was a bard. I was being confident. I was being charming. I wanted to impress everybody. Like, I was being my character, and you're acting like there's no comedy in D&D, or you can't handle the comedy. That's what I'm saying. Is like, there's always a sense of humor in every fantasy book you read. Do you think that the author's like, well, that's a little too complicated for my readers, and I don't know if they can handle it. It's just a certain type of campaign I want to write that there's just no jokes involved.
The current campaign that I am writing for another group of players
Token would spit in your face.
A grimdark fantasy. It is, okay, during the siege in Lord of the Rings, was there any comedy? No, because it is a siege. They are under battle.
Bro.
They are about to die.
Bro, like Gimli, tell Gimli that then.
Counting kills? And like sizing each other.
That was humor as fuck, dude. That was funny.
Not humor as fuck.
Hell yeah, dude. That was the funny. That was the through line that kept them. That kept that funny. There was always that level of comedy in every single action movie, and between every scene, that's fun. And then Lord of the Rings had it all. They always had that silly relationship between him and what do you call it? The elf. They always had that rivalry the whole entire time, and their rivalry grew, and their relationship grew during the fights because they started enjoying each other's company the more they killed. That was funny.
Okay. As I said, in my campaign I'm currently running, it is a grim, dark fantasy. It is like demons and vampires
grim, dark
and
comedy?
werewolves and all that stuff, and plague and horror. There is a creature that is pretty well known in the D&D community called a false hydra. Let's say you are a party of 4. There are 4 players. As you progress through life, you wake up one morning at your campsite and you notice there are 5 tents and there's like 5 adventure packs, but you're a party of 4. And you're like, who was this last tent? What the heck was this about? You search through their bag and you find a journal. And in this journal, there is logs of it's a diary about all of your guys' adventures. You're a party of 5, even though you're a party of 4. There are pictures illustrated of all 5 of you guys, but all 4 of you characters only remember your party consisting of 4 people. The false hydra consumes people, and everybody alive loses all memory of their existence. It is a very horror-esque, if played right, it is a very horror-esque story, and there's a lot at stake in that story. It is not a very comedy-oriented campaign. It has to match the sort of setup. So
you don't think I have that capability to be able to understand that, because you don't have that capability to explain that to me and for me to understand that. I'm just a silly little troll over here that likes going, ooh, I'm silly, when I was having fun. And I don't think I had the main character energy. I think your brother and your sister didn't want to talk. I think that was the problem, and there was a lot of silence, and I was left having to talk.
Meeting somebody for the first time, you have a lot more outward energy. My girlfriend and my brother they don't like to admit it, they are somewhat introverted individuals. And meeting somebody for the first time and being told you guys are role-playing as these people in a fantasy realm, they aren't very forward about that, obviously. Same thing happened with Connor. Everybody was very shy amongst one another because it was their first time ever meeting each other. And so things have eased up over time. In my current campaign with Jack, Connor, and Hannah, they all are a lot more personable. At the end of our sessions, Jack and Connor will talk about Star Wars and card games and video games and all this and that. And everybody's a lot more conjoined. It was our first time meeting, and they aren't very personable. So yeah, there was a lot of empty silence. They didn't want to say some out-of-pocket shit around somebody they didn't know.
So just because I wasn't shy, I was the one that had the big main character energy, because they weren't talking. Just okay, that's fine. So I'm now not allowed to join those other campaigns because I was immediately comfortable. Because I spend hours with you fucking around.
You monologued on 3 separate occasions. Minute plus monologues.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's some bard action.
Saying that doesn't have main character energy.
When everyone else is sitting there twiddling their thumbs and you want to have fun, you kind of spice it up. And I honestly was giving everyone the floor because I was just asking questions and no one wanted to answer it. And then so I was forced to constantly answer my own questions. And I wasn't asking basic things. I'm like, what do you think is happening? And if everyone stays quiet, that's not good for you. So that shyness, if anything, was just bad role playing. So why am I getting the brunt of it? Why don't you talk to them and be like, hey guys, how about you be a little more comfortable in a role play, huh? No, you're gonna go to old Dan and be like, hey man, you're just not welcome back unless we're gonna do another one shot, very specific comedy based one shot, instead of slamming the door in my face and all. You know what? You kids are just too sensitive. I'll let you have your game.
Well, I'll have you know, we haven't done a session for the last month because of finals coming up, because of school. Connor specifically said, until the semester is over, I can't do anymore. So listen, motherfucker, Womp womp, cry about it, wah wah baby man. If you want to be invited back, that's great. I'd love to have you. Wait until it occurs. Like I said, we haven't even had a session and fucking, I can literally pull up my footage. I record all of our sessions. I think it's been probably about a month and a half.
You know what? I'll just enter an LFG and find a dungeon master who's tolerant to fun.
So you get kicked out again? Because didn't you say the 2 campaigns you were in you got kicked out of for being too fun?
The first one was in high school, and the guy was a loser. I don't give a fuck about that guy. And the second one was my friend who was just trying out dungeon masting, whatever you guys want to call that. And it was never gonna continue. Yeah, dungeon masting. That's right. Masting like the ship.
You know what I say?
Ha.
Connor, Jack, Hannah, all very introverted individuals. None of them are as outgoing as the 2 of us. So you know what my proposition is? We find people that aren't sheltered. I am more than happy to find
Jeff.
To find people
that would fit. We're gonna go find Jeff and tell him to join our fucking D&D group.
You know he's still in the. You know he's still in the tower.
We need to go find a car. We need to go to Midwife right fucking now.
Guys, if you know who Jeff is, like 2 or 3 streams ago, we were on a Humvee and we were having a good old time. We did a convoy on 2 Humvees, and we stopped in the Northwest Airfield. Some guy in the air traffic control tower shooting at us, and we just stopped and talked to him for like 20 minutes. And he was just some white dude doing a Vietnamese guy's voice, and he was very entertaining. But he would be great for D&D.
I'm very serious. If we find people that are outgoing and willing to participate, I would fucking stream that shit. I would be more than happy if we found an actual group. Like I said, the issue is that also, like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of online D&D. In-person D&D is 1,000 times better. Unfortunately, Connor lives in Rhode Island. My brother lives 3 hours away at college. So we just have to do online. And it sucks in my opinion. But the also main thing is that whenever we do a D&D, my girlfriend wants to be here. She wants to be, like, at my house in my room with me. Which means that she doesn't hop on Discord. She's just across the room on my same mic. And then, like, she constantly wants to ask me stuff directly, so she asks me to mute my mic and stuff. So there's just a lot of, like, technical difficulties that go into it as well. So if we found a group that was all online, if we executed it well, I would love to do one. Will it put even more load on me because now I'll have a third campaign that I'll be writing? Maybe. But I would.
The load on your shoulders, dude. I'm concerned about the load on your shoulders.
It's a lot of work. The current campaign that Connor, my brother, and my girlfriend, I've probably spent easily 300 hours writing all that.
So you put a cyberpunk amount of hours into a campaign. That's like learning to Malsk.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And so what was your time? And it's not like I'm not going to be spending 25 hours trying to figure out how to edit this, but that's okay.
Well, editing stuff that's already created is one thing. I say 300 hours, but that doesn't even take into time, like, all the creative, like, brainstorming I've had to do. Editing this is whatever. I mean, the footage is already there. It already exists.
Oh, it's so easy to say when you're not about to do it.
That is exactly what I say. I would like to see you write a campaign that is keeping people hooked for months at a time. That keeps people craving to come back next week. And is begging to do multiple sessions in 1 week because they love it so much. I would pay you to do that.
Would you a
Also,
prostitute?
I would just like to do longer sessions. We only do like 3-hour sessions. And I would like to do 5-hour sessions. Because, like...
Dude, I was surprised it ended so quickly, honestly.
I'm going to be honest. You guys blasted through that shit. Yeah, you guys were a lot faster. I told Hannah, our sessions end at about 10 p.m. because she's ready to fall asleep at 10 p.m. I was like, hey, we need to buy energy drinks. This might last until midnight. We were out of there by like 10:30. Yeah, that went by way faster.
All thanks to my
Way
expert,
faster than I thought.
my expert tree talking. That's what really.
That was hilarious. I will
that was the
admit,
secret.
I loved that. That was funny as fuck. I knew giving you.
Well, the
Giving
thing
you
is, you gave me the
talk to
ability to
plants
talk to
was going
trees.
to-
I was scrolling through your spells and I did see that and was like, this might be funny, and I am very pleased that that was a decision I made.
You know, I was really upset because that first boss that we met up with, I asked if he had any plants on him because I wanted to talk to his plants. You should have let him have a plant on him so that I could talk to the plant in his pocket.
Well,
He had an intelligence of 6. He was a half orc. Or no, I think he had an intelligence of 9. Regardless, he was a half orc. He was very low intelligence, so that's why I like made him like search himself. But why the fuck would he be carrying a plant on him? What logical sense?
I was
logical
really
sense?
testing to see if you'd say yes. I was really just seeing what you'd say yes to.
I rolled to see if he had a plant on him. It was like a DC 15. Like I had to
love
roll a
that.
15 or higher to see if he had a plant on him. But I made a roll for it. I attempted to have a plant on him.
That's the thing. If you don't ask, you never get. And so I figured if I just kept asking, I'd get something. It was funny though because then you put us into a map with a lot of trees and we had to like figure something out. And so I'm like, I'm gonna talk to one of the trees, and then I talked to you for like 20 minutes. While obviously Jack and Hannah were just like, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, Hannah was scrolling fucking TikToks during that. But I mean, fuck it. That's how it goes, I guess. That's also another thing is like, especially with Hannah, I think Jack is a lot better about like keeping his attention span. Hannah has the fucking attention span of like, I don't really know what I was gonna say, but like she just doesn't have the attention span for shit. She is definitely an iPad kid at heart. She's I gotta scroll TikTok 27 hours a day kind of person. So I mean,
Holy shit, the iPad kids are grown up now.
yeah, they are. I genuinely am dead serious. The United States will fall when iPad kids enter like the government and enter military. Good riddance, the world will.
Oh no, that's idiocracy right there. That's people not being able to hold their attention when they have to sit through like a bill. It's just kind of like, why isn't the lights flashing and the music playing?
Dude, they're gonna have like giant speakers in Congress that play like fucking mumble rap, dude. It's gonna be crazy.
They're gonna have the national anthem sung by Drake.
Like, kind of lame to say, but I mean, like, I don't know. It's just kind of. It is how it be, I guess.
Yeah. So what pills are you going through right now?
Oh, allergy pills. Have you noticed that I've gotten more nasally? It's because my nose is all stuffed
No,
up.
I
'Cause of
just
the
I
dog.
just heard the
stuff
bottle
because of the
for like
dog.
you opening and rattling the bottle for like I'm trying to decide like what is that sound? I'm like, is he actually doing the pills in game?
2 different allergy pills and some ibuprofen for inflammation.
Which allergy pills do you
For
take?
inflammation.
Did you take cetrizine?
Well, this one was prescribed to me, Montelukast, which is funny because the allergist actually said that this will give me depression if I take it too often. I haven't experienced that one. I take cetrizine hydrochloride,
Yeah, I take that.
and then I was just taking some normal ibuprofen.
Dude, have you ever done Flonase? I was just talking about this today. Flonase is probably the biggest world-changing thing I've ever taken in my life.
I've like kind of. I've dabbled in it, but I've always had like crazy bad allergies in my nostrils and stuff. So it's only helped so much, I'd say.
Dude, so I was the guy taking over counter shit like Claritin D, and it was just ruining my sinuses. I didn't know that it was just basically my body was becoming way too dependent on it and it wasn't working. And so my headaches were just like multiplying by 1,000. So I had to go to allergists, and the allergist is like, get off that shit. Over the counter stuff's gonna kill you. And so they threw me on this fucking Flonase, and I swear to God, my life changed overnight. It, like, I'm telling you, my headaches and my sinuses would get stuffed all the way to the back of my skull. And anytime I take one little spits of this Flonase, dude, you could just feel it all. It's gross, but all leaking down your throat and just relief. And I think within like 30 seconds. And I don't know. I'm just saying, if you ever want to dabble in, again, I would try the actual over-the-counter steroid Flonase. I highly this segment's not brought to you by Flonase, but hopefully, eventually, it will be brought to you by Flonase. I will stand by that all day.
I've got some somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at. I think it's in my like bag. It's where I keep most of my drugs. It's in my laptop bag.
Have you ever heard of X-Clear or X-Lear?
No, I'm looking at your chat. Yeah, I am curious about that.
I actually skipped out on the allergies this month or this session because I just had so much extra Flonase. I'm like, I'm good. Now I just want to ask about fucking other options.
Oh, X-Lear is just another nasal spray. It's saline nasal spray.
Okay. Oh, it's saline. Oh yeah, saline. That shit just that stuffs me up more, if anything. So I was thinking for the ad reads. Normally, when you watch podcasts and they cut to other people, they're like just like they're doing their busy life and they're just reading the ad read on the go. So do you just want to like read ad reads like when we're at Tizzy or something, like fully geared out?
Yeah, why not? I respect it.
All right, picture this. It's been a long day. You're relaxing with your favorite boozy drink in hand when suddenly, your water breaks. But instead of putting down that drink, what if you could just keep the party going?
That's where Midwife on Demand comes in.
Midwife on Demand?
Exactly, Cecil. It's the revolutionary service for parents-to-be who'd rather focus on their cocktails than their contractions. Whether you're a few beers deep or fully committed to your bottomless mimosas, Midwife on Demand sends professional midwives to your door so you can keep sipping while they handle all the baby business.
John, I've got to ask, how do I know these midwives are qualified? I mean, they're walking into a party scene. Can I trust they're, not as tipsy as the rest of us?
Oh, 100%. These midwives can prove they're legally sober or have a blood alcohol content of less than 0.08 right on the spot. They're trained, certified, and ready to go, no matter how wild things are on your end. You're handing your baby's first moments to a pro, not a party crasher.
Now that's reassuring. So they're not just showing up, they're providing their qualifications the second they walk into the door?
Exactly. They'll take a breathalyzer if you need it. You've got the drinks, and they've got the professionalism.
Let's not forget about all the parents out there who've already tried this. I heard the testimonials are pretty glowing. Well, slurred, but glowing.
Oh, they're having a rave about it. One parent wrote, I was 6 margaritas deep, and thanks to Midwife on Demand, I didn't have to choose between my baby and my buzz. Another said, they delivered my child while I delivered a toast. Best night ever.
It's like they're redefining what it means to have a stress-free birth.
Completely. And for those planning a home birth, you can schedule these midwives in advance. But if it's a surprise situation during a wine tasting or a game night, they'll be there faster than you can pour another glass.
And they're equipped for everything. No panicked hospital trips, just smooth professional care right there in your living room, or I guess your kitchen, your patio, or even your pool deck.
Wherever you are, they're ready, fully equipped, fully sober, and fully prepared to make your baby's entrance into the world seamless. And your drinks stay topped off.
And there's a deal for our listeners, right?
Of course. Head to midwifeondemand.com and use code BABYONICE for 10% off your first service.
That's Midwife on Demand, code BABYONICE, because why should you have to choose between enjoying the moment and bringing life into the world?
If you're expecting soon and want to keep things chill or even a little tipsy, Midwife on Demand has got you covered.
John, I don't have kids, but this is making me rethink a lot of things.
And if you did, Cecil, you'd be raising a glass while they did all the work.
Cheers to that. So, John, what's the plan for tonight?
I'm keeping it simple, Cecil. Probably a toast, literally and figuratively.
Perfect. Thanks to Midwife on Demand for sponsoring the show. Now back to the chaos. Well, this is. I feel like this is a good point where we can just teeter away, right? Because we spoke for over an hour, which I thought we were just gonna do a half hour because I just wanted to like I didn't know, but this really worked out, man. I think we have something just by bringing shit up. Like, we didn't really have a topic of discussion. Like, we started with one news article and just an intro, and other than that was just there you go. We're just talking. So
I didn't know I was going to get ambushed by D&D.
I was waiting for that ambush. Oh, dude, I had that loaded up. I was at work today, and I was creating like just a list of things for us to talk about, and I'm like, I'm confronting this guy because there's nothing better than confrontations, you know?
Yeah, it was a bit of an ambush. It was a bit exciting, but it is what it is.
It would have been funny if you died of hunger mid-sentence in the podcast and we just had to end like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I think that's been a pretty good podcast. Our battery's still rolling. It's not dead. So everyone,
It's really close
if you're
to
still
dead, though.
listening. Yeah. Thanks everyone again. Thanks, Jon. Do you have anything you want to plug before we go?
No, I don't think so.
You don't stream or anything?
Yes, I do, but like, I don't know. It's weird doing it because I will admit I have an exotic name, so like I feel like I have to spell it out, which I feel like is really like shameless in a way.
Probably do. You probably do. You know what I'll do? You say it, and then I'll just put it on the screen when I edit it.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I stream, trying to get affiliate like 10 followers away. Dranger_30 on the Twitch. I post YouTube clips under the same name sometimes. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, whenever I stream, it's usually with him. I always tag him. Follow Jon. He needs to get affiliate because he's about 30 times better at this game than me, and he's more than half the reason why we have all this shit. Follow me at Larry Pizzas on Twitch. Larry Pizza streams on YouTube, and if you like stand-up comedy, follow at Dan King Comedy on Instagram because I want to whore myself out. I need to break 1,500 followers on that. So yeah, that's been the podcast, everybody.
I didn't think you were gonna out the Instagram like that.
I don't care. We call myself Dan. I call myself a comedian. I'm telling you, I'm breaking the RP wall for this podcast. It's going on YouTube for history.
That's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jon. We'll see you on the next one. What's the name of this podcast?
I don't know.
Live at Radio Zenit. This has been Live at Radio Zenit with Cecil and Jon. That has been our podcast. Thank you, everybody. Cecil and Jon out. I guess it's Live at Radio Zenit.
I'm cool with that. I like that.
The best names happen at the last second, you know? Like Leonardo da Vinci was named right as he was coming out of the vagina. They're like, we'll name him Leonardo.
Is that true?
No, I always like bringing him up though, where I like comparing people. I always like, well, Leonardo da Vinci. I don't know, it always seems believable. It's just me and Jon talking about in-game shit because that's the thing we have in common, and we also talk about real life shit, which we're kind of still learning about each other. So I like that. We're still learning about each other's bodies, you know? It's how real relationships.
I was about to say the same thing, but I muted because my mom's behind me.